Now the first exercise I'm going to show you is a 12-bar blues, and we're going to use these chord shapes. I'm just going to strum down on the right hand with the thumb. Nice relaxed strum there. So let's just break this down. The first chord that we hold down is the E major chord, and just strum that twice. Now we're going to introduce a couple of new chords here, and I'm going to keep holding the E major chord down, but I'll actually put the little finger onto the second string, second fret. And that is a chord called E6th. Okay, so just get used to pressing this little finger in this way. And then for the next chord shape, if you put your little finger up onto the second string, third fret. We've got a new chord there again, and that's the chord of E7th. Now let me put those three chords together in one bar. Or you can use the back of the nail of the first finger. So, try and learn E, E6th, E7th, back to E6th for the first bar. Just practice those shapes, get used to using this little finger. So let's move on to the next chord shape, and I'm going to hold down not so much an A major chord here, but an A7th chord. Remember the A7th that we learnt? Second finger and third finger. Try and strum from the fifth string. Now it's important to use these fingers, and you'll see why in a minute. Two strums again on the A7th chord, and then place your little finger on the first string, second fret, like that. And that chord is now A6th. Keeping the A7th chord shape, move the little finger up onto the first string, third fret. So again, three shapes. This shape, little finger, back to the E chord. Once you've learnt those two chord shapes with these extra chords, then try and put the sequence of chords together like this. Change to B7. Now you'll notice that I played these chords at the end. The E major chord, E7th, A major, A minor, back to the E, and we moved into a new shape. It was actually the B7th shape, one fret higher. That makes that C7th. down onto the B7th. Let me just play that through for you. And then we take it back to the beginning. Just play it through once more for you. So that completes 12 bars of music. Now try and practice those new chords, and most importantly try and develop a good sense of rhythm. Play the tape back and try and follow me, particularly with the right hand. Get used to strumming in this particular way, with the back of the nail or the thumb, whichever feels comfortable. Let's now go on to exercise 2, and again we're going to play a 12 bar blues, but we're going to actually use the bass notes or the bass strings of the chords. Let's just play this through for you. Counting in 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, let's now break that down, and let's get into the first bar of that sequence. And instead of playing a chord, we're playing just part of the E chord. In fact, I'm putting my first finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret. And I'm going to play the 5th string along with the 6th string open. So I get that sound. Just try and get used to pressing the first finger on this fret, playing 2 strings together, like that. Now just, it doesn't matter if the first finger touches other strings, you're not going to be playing the other strings on the guitar, just the 5th and 6th strings only, so it doesn't matter if you touch the other strings. But most importantly, try and get a nice clear sound from this 5th string, 2nd fret. And just play like that, just get used to that sound. Now, the next part of this is to extend the 3rd finger up onto the 5th string, 4th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the time. Now something else that I'm doing with the right hand, and using the heel of the hand, I'm just placing that lightly on at the bridge of the guitar, and I'm getting a damping sound. Just damping the strings. Like that. Now it really does involve stretching the left hand fingers, so it's a really good exercise for stretching. Let's take it back to the first bar. Extending the little finger. Just try and get used to stretching these fingers. Let me just take you through from the beginning again. We'll go as far as the B chord. we come to the bass strings for the B, and what we do here is place the first finger on the 5th string 2nd fret and the 3rd finger on the 4th string 4th fret. You get that sound. Now then, a little bit difficult here because you've got to really stretch the little finger up to this fret here, the 6th fret. Now at first, I mean, that's going to be virtually impossible, so perhaps don't worry too much about this little finger, but just play the... But eventually, with a bit of stretching there, back to the A, back to the E chord. Now at the end of this 12-bar blues, I'm going to put in what is called a turnaround, and it sounds like this. It should be, again, very familiar to you. Now let me just show you how to play that. So you just place the 2nd finger on the 3rd string 4th fret and the 3rd finger also on the 4th fret on the 1st string, and just play with the 1st finger and the ring finger and then slide that down onto the 3rd fret, 2nd fret. Now the important thing here is the timing, and I'm counting 4 beats again, but on each of the beats I'm playing 3 notes, so these are referred to as triplets. Probably the best way to count would be 1 and 2 and 3 and the final part is... Now, what I did there with the 1st finger was to hammer onto the 3rd string 1st fret. There's 2 of the notes, and the 3rd note is the 1st string open. Watch again. Really bring that 1st finger down. Get a nice clear sound. And then I played the 5th string open, 5th string 1st fret, and 5th string 2nd fret. Now, as I played the 5th string 2nd fret, I formed the B7th chord. So, back to the beginning. You can even use your thumb there, might be easier. And it's called a turnaround, and it helps to bring you back to the beginning of the next 12-bar blues, or next 12 bars. Let me just show you another turnaround which we can use, slightly different, slight variation of that one. We can do something like this. Place the 1st finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret and the 2nd finger on the 3rd string 4th fret, and just play back to the beginning. Now try and practice those two exercises, try and practice the chords, and now try and practice these bass strings. It really does involve stretching your fingers, but it's going to be really useful in future exercises and songs that we play. Let's now go on to the next exercise, and this time I'm going to play a 12-bar blues playing fingerstyle. And we're going to stick to these, the E chord, the A chord, the B7th. I'll just play this through for you. And back to the beginning. Now this time I'm holding familiar chords down. The first chord is the E major, and I'm starting by playing the 6th string. I'm trying to keep a constant bass throughout these chords now, and when I'm playing an E chord I keep a constant 6th string, and I play the thumb on the 6th string and hammer down on the 3rd string on the 1st fret. Just try that. Hammering down on the 3rd string and then playing the 2nd string open. Into the E6th chord. So just try. Now not only is the 6th string the bass string, but it also helps you to keep the beat. And remember, 4 beats. Playing the same pattern, move into the A7th chord. Now, something you can do which sounds it a little, makes it sound a little bit more effective there, is moving the A7th chord up from the 1st fret. Okay, so just practice just the A7th on the 2nd fret first of all. Once you've learnt that shape, then just try, in other words, sliding the 3rd finger there. And then we come as far as the B7th chord. Now we change the pattern slightly here, hold down the B7th like that. Now what I'm doing is picking out, keeping the steady bass with the B bass, which is in fact the 5th string 2nd fret. Playing the 1st string, 2nd, to the A chord, and I used a different turnaround this time. Now this is going to require just a little bit of practice. two E strings, the 6th and 1st, and then place the second finger onto the 6th string 4th fret and the first finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret together. So play those two together, followed by the first string open, like that, into the A7th chord, or you just need this part of the A7th. Now picking the 2nd and 5th strings together onto the first string open, and then I form this shape. First finger on the 5th string 1st fret and second finger on the 2nd string 1st fret. 2nd and 5th together. E major chord. We'll try two new chords here. Instead of playing the C7th and B7th, we'll hold down this shape again on the 3rd fret, but just bring the little finger in, and that makes that C9th to B9th. And try and play all the 4 middle strings in that chord. Just pick them all together. So it should sound like this. And then you're back into. And back to the beginning. So we've now played 3 exercises, playing a 12-bar blues. We've played the chords, we've played bass strings of chords, and we've now played a fingerstyle exercise. Now, to make a 12-bar blues sound really interesting, we can include turnarounds and fills. And fills are just little guitar riffs in the middle of the 12-bar blues, just to make it sound that much more interesting. Let me just play this through for you. I'll put a couple of riffs in for you, and then we'll break it down and I'll show you how to play them. And back into the beginning again. Now, the first riff or fill that I played was something like this. I placed the first finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret and the second finger on the 3rd string 4th fret. And we play these 3 notes to the time of 1 beat. Let's just now go through this riff. And I place the first finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret and the second finger on the 3rd string 4th fret. Let's play those 3 notes. Go into the second part, and this time I've placed the second finger on the 3rd string 2nd fret and play what is called a hammer off. In other words, pluck the string and produce 2 notes. And onto the 4th string 2nd fret, and then onto the 5th string 2nd fret, hammer off, 6th string 3rd fret, 6th string open. We can even bend that 6th string 3rd fret like this. So together it would sound like this. You can even slide up to that shape. And back to the beginning. Now let's just break that down into individual bars, and you'll see from the illustrations what the fingering is for the various shapes that I'm going to use. There are 3 distinct shapes in the E major chord. And just learn that pattern. Let's now go on to the A chord, and again there are 3 distinct shapes. Follow the illustration, follow the fingering, and we'll just go through that very slowly. Try and keep to this time. Back to the E. Now, when we play the B chord or the B7th chord, instead of playing the first position shape, we can go into what is called the second position and play a B chord here. And by holding down the B major shape, which is the bar on the 7th fret, into the standard major shape there, take the little finger away and place that bit of a stretch. I know it's going to be a little bit difficult to be able to stretch that finger up, but after a while, after practicing, you'll get there. Just stretch that up onto this fret and play this. So all I'm playing is the 6th string and the 5th string together. Moving down to the 5th fret, keeping the same shape, taking the little finger off and extending it up onto this fret. And finally finishing off with a turnaround. And all I'm doing there is picking open strings, the 6th string open, the 2nd and 4th together, holding down that shape, this shape, into the E chord. Once again. And back into these shapes. I'll strum it for you. And back to the E major chord. Now you're going to find that really interesting. There's some good harmonies there between the strings and it sounds really good. And back to the beginning. Now, what that should sound like to you is, in fact, the line that a bass guitar would play. But we're combining the chords and the line that the bass guitar plays together. And all I'm doing there, and again, what you've noticed when we play 12 bar blues, you've got to stretch these left-hand fingers, particularly the little finger. And we have to do the same again in this exercise. And I'll just take you through. And all I'm doing is strumming up on the first 3 strings, holding down an E major chord and extending up to the 4th fret on the 6th string. 5th string, 5th string, 4th fret. So we've got 4th string now, so we start on the 6th and we work through the strings, 6th, 5th, 4th. And play that in reverse. Now, when we play 3 bars of this music, get to that point, we can take this finger off. We've got an E7th chord now, and we've got now an open string. So we've got this sound. Into the A chord or A7th chord. And I prefer to hold down an A7th here, which is this, the A major chord with the middle finger missing. Open. Open 3rd. So we just change the fingers around because I need to extend this little finger. And what I'm playing there is the 5th string open, extending up onto the 4th fret. 4th string, 4th fret, 3rd string, back onto the 4th string, all the way through, and back into the E chord. We now go into the B7th chord, and it's difficult to hold down a B7th and extend this little finger. So what we've got to do is got to improvise a little bit and playing the 5th string now, and take this 2nd finger onto the 6th string, 2nd fret. So once again, into the A chord, into the E chord. Notice what I did there. E chord, into the A chord, 5th string, 1st fret, into a B7th, and then we can play. Remember that from lesson 6 in video 1. We used those 2 chords, remember. And the chords are C9th and B9th. All it is a B7th chord moved up 1 fret, little finger in onto the 2nd string, and we have a 9th chord. So we've got a once again. You can play the 9th chords, or you can play the C7th, which that is. I prefer the 9th. Just got a much more subtle sound to it. And back to the beginning. Right, let's get into exercise 1. And just before we come into sort of solo improvisation, we'll just go through some of the chords we're going to use. And getting away from some of the sort of basic chords that we've learnt already. The A major, the D major, and the E7th. I want to show you some alternative chords and more interesting chords to those. So we'll play the A major chord first of all, and a chord that should be familiar to you is the long A chord, which involves placing the 1st finger on the 2nd fret, like that, and extending the little finger up to the 5th fret on the 1st string. You should get a sound. Always play the chord from the 5th string, which is the A bass, which matches the chord, like that. So just strum through. Now you'll notice I changed to the familiar A7th chord at that point, just before we change into the D major chord. Instead of playing the D major, we'll play a chord here. Now, a new shape for you, but it's the C major chord, C7th, moved up 2 frets. And that is an alternative to playing D7th. Back into the long A, into E7th, back into a D chord, or an alternative again to the sort of traditional D or D7th chords. We can play this shape, and it involves placing the 2nd finger on the 6th string 2nd fret, the 3rd finger on the 3rd string 2nd fret, and the 1st finger here on the 2nd string 1st fret. And it sounds like. And if we include the 1st string open with that chord is called D9th. So a slightly different flavour. Back into. Just play that through for you. And back to the beginning. Right, learn the chords that I've just shown you and try and link the chords together with bass runs. And to show you what bass runs are, I'll just put 1 or 2 together for you. So we'll just break that down, and we started with the long A. Into A7th, and just before we change into the new D7th chord, we did this. So placing the first finger on the 5th string 3rd fret, 4th fret and 5th fret, we can run up naturally into this D7th chord. Once again. Now, instead of playing the normal E7th chord, we can run up into a new E7th chord from the 5th fret. So very similar to what we've just learnt, but in this time playing the 5th string, 5th fret, 6th fret and 7th fret, and holding down this familiar shape that we've just learnt. So from this shape up 2 frets, and this is called the E7th chord. Back into A again. Now there's another new chord that I want to sort of bring into this, a new chord that you haven't come across before, and I'll play it for you. And we play the D chord. Just before we change back to the A chord, we play this, what is called a passing chord, called A diminished. A new type of chord with a very sort of unique sound. And to play this chord, we place the little finger on the 1st string 5th fret, the 3rd finger on the 3rd string 5th fret, the 2nd finger on the 2nd string 4th fret, and finally the 1st finger on the left hand on the 4th string 4th fret. So we get a sound like that. So once again, I'll play it for you, we'll introduce this chord, and I'll play the bass runs as well. So here we go. Right, let's go on to exercise 2, and in this exercise I want to show you a number of introductions to blues. They can be used as intros, they can be used as fills or turnarounds. But let's start with some bass intros, and I'm going to show you 3 of these, and we'll start with a very simple one to start with. Now all I did there was played the 5th string open up to the 4th fret, 5th string, 4th string open, 4th string 1st fret, and 2nd fret, and into the E7th chord. Into the A chord. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's try another one. Once again. Now what I played there was the 5th string open, hammered on from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret, onto the 4th string, 2nd fret, 4th fret, and then we hammered off from the 5th fret onto the 4th, back onto the 2nd fret. Let's play that slowly for you. Into the E7th chord. Now let me play a third one for you, and again a little bit more complex, but again very interesting and worthwhile playing. Let me take through stage by stage here. 5th string open, which is the A of course, sliding up to the 4th fret, onto the 4th string open, and we played the 4th string 1st fret, 4th string 2nd fret, onto the G string, the 2nd, and then we can pull the finger off like that, onto the 5th string 3rd fret. We can bend the string there, new technique for you. Finishing off on the 6th string 3rd fret, 5th string 2nd, 6th string open. Once again, back into the A chord again. So that completes the 3 bass lead-ins. And I want to show you 3 what I call treble lead-ins, and it's playing the same sort of thing on higher strings. The most commonly used, certainly in the key of A, is this one. Should sound familiar to you because we in fact in a previous lesson played the same solo in the key of E. Once again. So up onto the 9th fret, 1st string, and just place the little finger and the 3rd finger on the 3rd string 9th fret, and just play what is called a triplet. Move that down onto the 7th, and you can either play 2 or 3 strings together, part of the major chord there. Okay, so you can bar the first 2 strings on the 5th fret and place the 2nd finger here on the 6th fret, 3rd string. So we've got a... Now instead of going down to this E major chord or E7th chord, we can obviously play an E7th chord which is perhaps nearer to what we're playing here. Using the bass run. And start the 12-bar blues. Let's try another one. This time placing the little finger on the 1st string 5th fret and the 3rd finger on the 4th string 5th fret. We can do the same. Okay, so all I did was run down on the 4th string, 5th fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd. Now you'll notice that instead of just using one, I used my fingers on the left hand. 3rd finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger. Finally, let me show you another popular riff which sounds like this. Now this time we're playing the A7th chord, which is an alternative to perhaps this chord that we've learnt already. We can hold the fingers, the 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 2nd fret, and the 2nd finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. And this is the start point. Moving down, 2 open strings, and then into this shape, which is in fact the 3rd string 2nd fret and the 5th string 4th fret together. So right, let's now try exercise 3, and I now want to explore the fretboard with a series of new chords. And we're going to first of all hold down the long A chord, just get used to that position again, and get used to keeping this constant bass with the thumb. And what we're going to do is to change from the little finger to the A7th chord. Now what I'm doing there is the 5th string and 3rd string. Just get used to doing that and play it 4 times. Right, we'll take that shape now up to the 7th fret and just bring in the finger like that, because now we're going to play, this is in fact a long D chord, and we're going to obviously use the 4th string, which is the D bass string, which matches this chord. Same pattern. Back into the A. Now we're going to take the same shape again up to the 9th fret here, and this time this is called the E7th or E chord. This time we're going to, with the right hand thumb, we're going to keep a constant bass on the 6th string, which is the E bass, which matches this chord. So here we go. And back into the A chord again. So practice those 3 shapes. They're all the same, but obviously in different positions on the guitar and using different bass strings. The A bass, the D bass, and the E bass. Right, in this part of the exercise, I want to show you some variations on the same theme, and we're going to play the same chords, but with some more interesting variations to them. So here we go. Right, so holding down the long A position again, just run through this. 1, We'll just concentrate on the treble strings. So from the 5th fret down to the 3rd fret, hammer off, little finger onto the 2nd string, 5th fret, and then across onto the 3rd string, like that. Just practice and keep this constant bass. Now, instead of moving up to the long D chord, a favourite lick of mine is this one. Keeping the D bass. Now, what I did here is playing the D bass, holding the 1st finger on the left hand on the 1st string 5th fret, and the 3rd finger on the 2nd string 7th fret together, and then bending this 8th fret on the 1st string, and then hammering on, keeping the constant D bass. The A chord. Then we take the fingers up to the long E chord. Back into the 7th. Okay, so notice that just before we change into the D, so placing the 1st finger on the 1st string, 9th fret and 10th fret on the 2nd string, run down into the bringing in a bass run that we've learnt already. So you can now see how it's all coming together. We've got a few variations in there. We use the bass fill at the end. Try and work at those exercises. Try and the different variations, work on the sort of A chord, the long D chord, the long E chord.